I didn't even hear it say that. Did you?
I got the little
I got the
note
thing.
it.
I just didn't get the voice, you know?
Oh, I don't normally get a voice.
Oh, okay. I must be thinking of something else. Whatever. Welcome. Hi. It's Next Level from Level with Emily. I host the show. I'm Emily. And Sam Keenan is here. He produces the show. Hello, Sam.
Hello, hello.
I literally just woke up from a nap and
Yeah,
I'm a little out of it. So apologies
nice.
about that. That's what happens when you're up early, early, early for work. But and you're a napper. I think it's safe to say
Right.
not everyone would nap, but I mean, come on, it's early.
If you
But
can
yeah,
pull it off.
if you can pull it off. And today was a little power nap, so that's
Yeah.
good. It's probably better that way. But nobody cares about that. Let's talk about this week's episode, which is what we do this for. We come on here once a week and talk about what's coming up for the show. And this week is a franchise we featured before, which I love. It's one of my favorite sci fi franchises ever from Aliens.
Mm-hmm.
And I love those movies, at least the first handful. I even like some parts of the new stuff too. I think there's
Oh
value in
yeah.
it,
Yeah.
especially when Michael Fassbender is around.
Exactly.
But yeah, this is Aliens Dark Descent, and the composer is Doyle Donehoo, who you may know from Warhammer. He has been the man who crafted the Warhammer sound for years and years and years. So
Mm-hmm.
legend in the biz, and excited to feature his music. So before we get to that, anything on your mind? Hello, Sam. How are ya?
I'm doing okay, doing okay.
Yeah,
I've got my patriotic eagle shirt on today,
love
so
it. That's good
you know,
for August the
in
20
case
whatever. Yeah.
yeah, it's the celebration of eagles today.
Yes, we do like eagles, especially
Uh
if they can somehow be in the aliens universe. But go
yeah,
on.
well actually alien eagles, that'd be good. That's one thing I
Alien.
liked about the newer movies, Prometheus and Alien, was it Resurrection, Redemption,
No,
Recall?
Resurrection was pretty
Uh
old. I think that was the fourth one, wasn't it? I don't know.
I forget, but whatever one
Yeah,
came after Prometheus, those
Prometheus.
had some fun, like that Michael Fassbender robot fellow was like building, genetically modifying and messing with the aliens and created like these other weird versions of the xenomorph and stuff, and that was pretty
Amazing.
cool.
Yeah, that stuff is so
But they
cool.
could use an eagle one.
They could use an eagle one. There, I mean, really, the way the head is shaped, you're kind of halfway there. You just
Yeah,
really need to give a xenomorph wings
right,
and a quote unquote bald head, which
right.
bald, I guess, used to have an E on the end and
Hmm.
actually was an old English word for white,
Oh,
which is
interesting.
why they're called bald eagles.
I didn't know that.
I probably read that in the internet,
Hmm.
so nobody hold me to that because it could be bullshit.
Okay.
But I did just read it and found it interesting. So if it's true,
Yeah.
now we all know something fun about bald
Okay.
eagles. But yeah, xenomorphs and the aliens universe, I love it all. I love it all so much.
Hmm.
The first film came out in 1979, and Doyle was there in the theater. He saw it when it came out in
Incredible.
the theater. And I
Wow.
love his story about it. I'm not going to give anything away, but he talks about how scary it was because I
Yeah.
know
How old
you've
was
seen
he?
it. I've seen it. I don't know. He was probably 20,
Oh,
maybe.
wait, he was 20?
I don't know, maybe 15. I honestly I don't know. I didn't ask dude how old he is.
Okay. Yeah.
Old enough
Okay.
to see it in the theater in 1979 and
Yeah.
young enough to still be writing a lot of music for games and stuff.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Yeah, so that was really cool. In fact, he kind of starts off like that because, one of my first questions when I'm dealing with a franchise like that is just invariably going to be, what's it like writing for this franchise? Because it definitely has a sound, and
Yeah.
that's thanks to James Horner, who did the
Hmm.
second one. The first one was Jerry Goldsmith,
Sure.
and then the third one was Elliot Goldenthal. And so there are these three absolutely fantastic scores to these just iconic movies, and they have a sound. So it was cool. It was
Hmm.
cool to hear him talk about that experience, and I remember the very first time I ever saw it. Do you?
The first one,
Yeah.
I think I saw them out of order. I think I saw Aliens first, which I
Okay.
didn't really care when I saw it. It didn't
Yeah.
really grab me. And then later I saw the first one, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, wait, I was old. And
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
by old, I mean like in my 20s or something.
Yeah.
Um, and I loved it as a movie. I loved the movie a lot, but it
Yeah.
didn't scare me too much,
I
you
guess
know?
it wouldn't now, would it? You
Yeah.
know, I mean, there's just so many other examples that exist because of it, really. So it's like, you're kind
Hmm.
of seeing things. Yeah. Yeah.
It's one
No,
of
I'm
those
not
things
surprised.
I missed out on that stuff because I wasn't allowed to watch scary stuff when I was little,
Right.
and
Right. And I was too scared. And so when I saw it, I considered it like one of my first horror movies, even though it's really
hmm
not a horror movie at all. It's
right.
just jump scary, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
but, you know, yeah. Oh, they're so
And
good.
jump scares will get anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
those are cheap,
Yes. Yes. Yep. The cat, that
Yeah, the
effing
cat.
cat.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, it's great. And Paul, what's his name? What's his name? Um, from Mad
Which
About You,
guy?
Paul Reiser. Paul Reiser.
Oh, oh, Paul Reiser's in it. That's right.
Oh
Weird.
yeah.
That's
Oh
right.
boy, is he
Crazy.
ever. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I haven't
That's the second
seen.
one, right? The second one. He's in the second one.
Uh,
Or is he in the first? Shit, now I'm getting them
I think he's in the
confused in my
second
head.
one. It must be
Yeah,
the
I think
second
it's the
one.
second
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because yeah, that
Yeah.
makes more sense to my brain anyway. But
Yeah, because I think then, yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I haven't seen the original in a while. Maybe I should watch it.
Oh, it'd be so worth it. It'd be a good winter movie.
Yeah.
Really
Hmm.
good winter movie.
Maybe do
It's a thought.
the Prometheus and then the other one after that, and then the first Alien. That'd be an interesting because those are supposed to be prequels.
Right. Right.
I've
Yes.
never tried that.
No, that'd be interesting. Kind of like doing Star Wars in the right order, quote unquote,
Yeah,
right
yeah.
storytelling order or whatever you call
Hmm.
that. I know there's a word for it. I just can't think of it. But yeah, Doyle Donehoo uh,
Right.
has been a massive fan of this franchise, and I mean, just the fact that you and I can talk about it, you know, endlessly without being super fans, just
Hmm.
speaks to
Hmm.
its importance in the genre of sci-fi and just the film world writ large.
Right. Right.
But yeah, it was really fun. Like right away, I was like, oh, here we are, here we are in Aliens. Now this takes place 19 years after the original trilogy,
Okay.
so that's kind
Interesting.
of fun. And this game is a real time tactics game. So you've got like
Mm.
a little team that you're telling what to do and ordering around, and you're going through isometric, like bird's eye view through these
Hmm.
really cool
Hmm.
environments. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so that's cool. And it's just yet another good. There are bad examples in the franchise the game like of people trying to make aliens games. There are some
Oh yeah.
notorious examples, but there are also some really great ones, and this one seems like it's well received and doing really well, so
Okay.
that's pretty cool. And if I remember right, and he probably I know he talks about this, I believe this is from the Warhammer team or some of the people who make Warhammer. So,
Okay.
obviously they're no slouches, especially when it comes to like because Warhammer I think is an RTS. I should know this, but I don't. And yeah, so kind of similar situation, but in this really awesome franchise with some great music. So, what do you think about the music? You popped around some of it.
Yeah, no, I thought it was very alien-y,
Yeah,
and
well, that's the best. That's exactly what you want, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
like it sounded right, and
Mm-hmm.
it sounded like a big like haunted military or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like like that's the vibe I was getting, like nice
Yeah.
blatty horns and like kind of uh complicated chords that make dissonance, and
Yep.
all that kind of stuff, and the military kind of rhythms and stuff,
Yes.
and
Gotta
yeah.
have the snare drums in there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Huge
Mm-hmm.
alien thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and the sound of it, the percussion anyway, like it seemed like they put a little, or he put a little like extra kind of stank on the reverb or something. There's like almost a like a metallic-y edge to it, which I think feels really
Yeah.
right
Oh, nice.
for aliens and everything. It just yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but big and
Yeah.
cinematic, huge actually, massively huge sounding.
Massively huge sounding in that, you're establishing that we are out and there's nothing here with us. It's just silent space. And there's so
Hmm.
much of that, so much reverb. And one of the other things that he talks about that he wanted to make sure, that was like represented was this whole like the echo. Well, it's reverb based, right? So an instrument will play a little like bidalip, 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 and it
Mm-hmm.
echoes often in this. So
Mm-hmm.
it's got this delay and this reverb on it,
Right, right.
and that you hear that all over, especially the first couple films. I mean, that's just how it
Yeah.
is, and so
Yeah, I can hear
he
it in my head just when you do that. Like,
right, right, yeah, and that's so he's got those kinds of things snuck in around, and I asked him what what did you do to make this you in so many words. I didn't really say it like that, but like
mhm.
what did you add or whatever a non-offensive way is to ask that question, what
Yeah.
and he just said um that he kind of combed through these scores looking for sounds, not instruments, not chords, not but those sounds like the echo sound and things like
Interesting.
that. And I thought that was cool. And he probably applied that to the way he dealt with the drums as well, is my assumption.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
that shows.
yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah,
for
that's
sure.
cool. That's a cool way to go about that because yeah,
Yeah,
that's part of the weird thing about modern, like music making is you can get so precise if you want to.
right.
You can find sounds and just like match them or figure out how they were made and match it, especially if you've got,
Yeah,
the tools or the budget,
yep.
yada yada.
It reminds me of our friend Johnny Vince Evans,
Yeah,
making everyone sound like
shout out.
Journey, was it? Was it a
Yeah.
Journey tune that you guys did for the cabaret? And he like processed everyone to have the original sounds and
Yeah. Yeah. That was amazing.
that was amazing.
Uh
Yeah, yeah. But
yeah,
anyway,
shout out to Johnny Vince.
shout out to Johnny Vince. Love that fella. What a good dude. Um, well, let's listen to some.
Okay.
Um, we'll just listen to a little bit of the very opening. And again, before we start listening to it, uh, this is not a horror score, but it's
Hmm.
very ambient, and there's a lot of um, well, ambient music.
Sure.
So, when whatever, let's just listen.
Which track is this?
This is just the very first opening,
Okay, okay.
uh, titled "Main Theme."
Ah.
Yeah. So, all right, here we go. Drums, love it.
Hmm. Could be pushing through a scary space hallway right now.
Yes. That little.
Hmm.
So nice.
Yeah.
And it sounds amazing. He programmed his own MIDI software, like when MIDI was first a thing.
What do you
And
mean?
so, well, well, I don't know what I mean.
He programmed like software that would send and receive MIDI signals.
Yeah, he made his own MIDI software, like
Interesting.
before, not before it was a thing, obviously, but like to kind of, and so he knows it upwards and downwards and backwards and forwards and all those things. He
That's
talks about
cool.
that too. Um,
I'm so happy about this modern era of MIDI. MIDI, used to be such more of a huge pain in the ass.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
and just all the just keyboards in general, how you had sounds and people with floppy disks they're plugging into their keyboards and things like that. Like all
yeah.
that's gone, just
It's
USB,
ridiculous. Yeah, yeah,
or Wi-Fi, and you're done. But yeah, that MIDI
yeah,
stuff is that's technical and annoying.
yeah. Well, he's really a software engineer as well and a
Mm,
programmer, and so he programmed a lot of things and did that for work for a while. And yeah, it's just cool to hear him talk about that stuff because, even me talking about it right now, you can tell it's not really my strength. And
sure.
so
Yeah.
I'm always just fascinated when, when people just are like, well, MIDI started being a thing and I wanted to
Yeah.
learn about it. So I learned how to program my own thing. And then he just, once everyone else has started getting so much better, then he
Hmm.
just did that. But I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean,
Yeah, very cool.
simple MIDI is pretty easy to understand. It's just notes turning on and off. You know,
Right. Yeah.
and then you just assign that on and off to a sound or whatever. But then when you get
Yeah.
into velocity and pitch changing and all sorts of other kinds of things, it just it gets way more technical.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the kind of stuff that it'd be fun to know, but I don't want to go through the pain of learning.
Yeah. One of the things that was really that I think was funny is I asked him if he was largely self-taught. If you think about someone like Mike Moraski, who also has such a understanding
Hmm.
and he didn't go to school to learn computers. He read books.
Right.
And Doyle, when I was like, "Are you self-taught?" and he goes, "Well, yeah. I mean, I used books." And I'm like, "Well, that qualifies. Like, you're not going to
He
like
didn't just teach
Oxford."
himself MIDI from scratch.
Yeah, yeah, just osmosis or something. I thought that was kind of
Yeah.
cute. But yeah, clearly has a really wonderful grasp of how to make music on a computer,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Um, all right, so uh, let's listen to a little more. This is from a track called "The Queen Must Die."
Okay.
Sure, it's the alien queen.
Right. Yeah.
And I really love the very, very end. It builds in this really fun way that I like. Kind of like almost like if you go up to a piano and you start smashing keys and then you start smashing more keys and then you smash more together. Like
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
it's more delicate than that, but I really love the
Yeah.
end. So we'll listen to
Okay.
a little bit of this. It's the whole thing is 49 seconds, so we'll just listen to the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. I just loved that. I thought that was
Yeah.
so badass. And the piccolos are in the background just going.
Yeah.
Did you check that out? Yeah, yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. We'll listen to that part again. It's so great. Yeah, that's just cool.
Yeah, it's super cool.
And I love how a piccolo, just because of its frequencies, this little tiny. I mean, they're like 7 inches long or something, and
Yeah.
it's just completely over, just piercing through this entire massive orchestra, right?
Yeah.
And I know
Yeah.
some of that is mixing, but it really isn't. It's just the nature of the frequency
Right.
that
Well,
it's just
yeah,
going to cut
it's
across all of
yeah.
that. So
It's good
cool.
arranging is what it is,
Oh, that too. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Orchestration. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Orchestration. That's the
yeah.
word.
Well, it works either way.
Yeah.
Did you have a track you wanted to mention?
Well, I had a couple that I'd written down. One of them was kind of an example of the metally sounding drums, although the stuff we heard maybe is an example. But if we want to check out a little bit of Running Battle,
Oh yeah, yeah,
um,
for sure.
just the sounds of that is interesting and shows some of what we were talking about.
All right, here you go. Running Battle from Aliens Dark Descent.
It's like it's
What's that?
it's in the reverb of the drums. It's like it's a lot of that sound that I'm talking about with the metallic. It doesn't sound like a normal like orchestral hall or something like that. It sounds like they're
Right.
playing in like a inside of a spaceship or something.
Yeah, or like a bunker, like a metallic. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
see
like
what
an
you're saying.
airplane hangar or something like that. It's
Yep.
subtle, but it colors everything and that kind of stuff. You know, with orchestral, for the most part, ish type stuff is those kind of subtle things will stand out a lot because we're used to hearing orchestras in a very few locations. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You hear them in concert halls.
Right.
The end.
Yeah, pretty much. That's about it. Or maybe
Or
at the state
outside,
fair.
but
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. The state fair. It's true. It's
Yeah.
true. That starts tomorrow here in
Oh
Minnesota.
God.
Great Minnesota get together.
Maybe that's why I had it on my mind.
It
But
must be. Can you imagine? Oh, it's so
yeah.
hot. We didn't even talk about that.
The other thing that I was thinking, listening to the music, that I also wrote down an example of was we were talking about a few weeks ago, and it's been kind of on my mind, just generally musically speaking, my own little uh, working on some things, but using drones,
Yes.
like that, like this, like what episode were we talking about that on? I'm trying to remember. It was like 2 or 3 weeks ago or something. Goddamn.
Wasn't it?
Uh,
I think it was Alexa from Horizon Forbidden West Burning
oh
Shores.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
But there's like this this soundtrack isn't like tons of drone or whatever, but there's
Yeah.
times when it just the way that it's put together, it basically there is a drone, and
Yeah.
those that low droniness can help bring out some of the dissonant notes that go by in a melody because they'll
Yeah.
like they'll compete with that um
Yes.
you know root note or whatever.
Yeah.
uh but the song, if we want to check out a little bit of it, is Desperate Escape.
Yes. Is there any particular timestamp, or should I just
I didn't
go
write one
from the
down,
beginning?
so
Okay. All right. Here we go. This is Desperate Escape.
there it is, like
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
so it's not quite a drone the same way. It doesn't like hold out through the whole
I know what
track
you
or
mean,
whatever,
though. Yeah.
but just that sort of like those drony notes in the low end, and then also those like dissonant pads in the high end, are
Yeah.
just really create really good scary atmosphere and
Very.
dissonant, creepy, haunted atmosphere.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
the other one that I wrote down, 'cause I just liked it a lot. This was my favorite one. Is called That's Just Creepy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that one I wrote down to skip ahead like 15 seconds or something because there's just a big long kind of like, you know, uh I can't think of the word, but like intro. There's a big long intro that we could skip, but
Okay.
yeah,
15? 15 seconds? Okay.
yeah, and then
Okay.
it'll get started after that. But it's like I just really like the bladdy horns and stuff like
Yes,
that
I
on this
love
one,
that stuff.
and the chaos of this one too.
All right, here we go. That's just creepy. Yeah, that's fun. They're just
I,
like, "Rink, rink, 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 rink,
yeah,
rink."
I
Yeah,
love that, and just
that's
the
awesome.
just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
It's almost got a
Yeah, it does.
you know.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So, so good. One of the other cool things about the soundtrack is he does have on there some really long tracks. Like there's some handful of like 8, 9 minute tracks,
hmm
just kind of a pastiche of what it
Yeah.
would be like to
Ooh.
go through a level or a quest or whatever. So that's kind of cool too. I always love it when they do that because that takes them so much time to do.
Right.
Right? They're constructing something that they don't have to construct for the game. You know, the game engine does that. So I really, and I know they don't all have the luxury of that kind of time, but when composers do that kind of stuff, I really enjoy it because it
hmm
really does take you through the experience, you know. So
hmm
that's really cool.
hmm
There are like three, I think 3 or 4 on this soundtrack like that, and um, probably my favorite was Check Those Corners.
That was a good one too. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's some
I
really
remember that
cool
one.
moments in there,
And
but
it's the
yeah,
perfect name for
I
that
know, right?
one. It's like
So
sounds
true.
exactly like that. Sounds
Yes,
like you
it
better
does
check
sound
the
like that.
corners or you're
Check
dead.
your effing corners or you're going to get face hugged. That's
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Maybe you should play
So
a little of that one.
I can. I can. I mean, it's a tough. This one's a tough one just because it's so long. But let's just bop around a little bit.
Okay.
Here's how it starts. That sounded like piano strings to me. Like,
Mm-hmm. I'm scared already.
I know, and that he's done that echo thing a couple. I just stopped it, but he's done that echo thing a couple times already in the opening, like 30 seconds of that, and he did it in 2 different ways. He did it, um, and one of the terms he does say is colegno, and I can't remember what he exactly called, like colegno echo or colegno reverb or whatever. But
Mm,
colegno is when a string player plays with the back of the bow, the wooden part. So I think colegno means with wood
okay.
in probably Latin,
Sure.
maybe Italian. But and there's some really super famous examples in music history of composers doing that to great effect.
Mm.
And it features largely in Alien and Aliens, and so you hear him do that with the strings, and then he does it with a little trumpet lick. So the strings are like rat dat dat or whatever, and then the
Mm-hmm.
trumpet goes
Mm-hmm.
like. Ba-da-da, ba-da-da, ba-da-da. It's so cool.
Right.
Let's listen to that little bit
Okay.
again. Did you hear it?
Mm-hmm.
And there's that little trumpet lick.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah,
So
and
cool.
also just does this subtle
Right?
thing happening in
Yeah.
the low end. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So good. That's it. I mean, that's not
yeah,
it. There's way more music, and the
yeah,
conversation is lengthy. We chatted for like an hour, and he has some great stories. He
cool,
also was one of the first people in the world to see Star Wars, so that was very cool to talk to him
yeah,
about. He talks about that at the very end, so that was pretty cool.
sweet.
Yeah, Doyle Donehoo, Aliens Dark Descent, and they are doing a soundtrack release. So
Oh,
at
cool.
some point, it's Disney, right? Because Disney owns Fox, who owns the Aliens
hmm
franchise.
I think
So
they own me somehow. I'm not
I
sure,
know,
but
yeah, Disney just owns Earth, Disney
yeah.
and Apple .com. So yeah, it's gonna come out eventually, the soundtrack. But in the meantime, just listen to the show. We'll be publishing it at some point on Friday, and I look forward to it. And we'll be back next week. Next week will be a little bit later. I work until a little bit later in the day, so we'll be hopping on probably around 5 Central, which is about 2 hours later than normal. Just so you can set your clocks for that. It won't be at 3 Central like normal. It'll probably be closer to 5. And then anything else you want to say before we do our little sign off that
I
isn't.
don't think so. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing more of the conversation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, but I know the music's rad.
It
So
is. It's
check
fantastic.
out this
All right.
episode.
Cool. All right, we're on Discord. Find that link down in the show notes eventually if it's not already there. And join us on Patreon. We are close to monetization here on YouTube. And after I streamed our episodes for a few days straight, learned that that doesn't work, which I guess is a good thing. So we could use your help to get our watch time up. And then, yeah, we're at patreon.com/level, levelwithemily.com, all the places. So we'll see you on the flip side, I guess is what they say. That's not what they say, but